Story 1. It's been 6 months since we split. We were together for just over 2 years. She was beautiful, but evil, immature, and selfish. I never fully trusted her, but being with such an attractive woman inflated my self-esteem. Men used to check her out when we would go out, but she would actively seek attention wherever she went. I finally landed a job after 6 months of depression and unemployment. It meant staying away from her 2 nights a week. The second week I was away, she started having a coworker back to ours to screw each other. I found messages on her work computer. During working hours, they were sending each other sexy comments all day. He had a girlfriend too. They would chuckle about how they needed to be careful and delete their messages. I should have seen it coming. She had cheated on all her former boyfriends too. Their relationship was over anyways, she would say about them. I now, of course, know what she meant. The guy had just started at the company. In his comments, he seemed desperate and thirsty, but felt no guilt about effing another man's woman. Coming over to our apartment and screwing her on our bed. Other comments from her other colleagues encouraging her behavior and laughing about it were also found on the computer. I saved all the comments, copied and pasted, and sent them to my email. There are pictures of the new guy on the work computer. He was handsome and tall, probably more so than me. The communications back and forth discussed what drugs they enjoyed and what they should take at the festivals they were booking. All while this is going on, she was still effing me, acting as if there was nothing going on. She denied it when I caught her. Ridiculous. My main question for this sub is, recently I keep beating myself up about not putting their conversation on the entire team chat channel. Instead, I just copied the conversation from their private channel and sent it to my email. If I had put it on the entire work channel in front of 40 or so people, all their sneaking around, all their references to drug taking, all their time spent throughout the entire day messaging each other instead of working, I then perhaps would have had a small amount of revenge. Perhaps I would have looked more crazy than anything. I know she badmouthed me to everyone at her work anyway, to make it seem like she was justified in what she was doing. If I had seen those conversations from an employee of mine, I would fire them in an instant. But then, I seem to be the only one who gives a shit about standards or morality anymore, it seems. Edit. Someone mentioned that I should send the conversation to their boss. I am unsure as to whether to put a personal note beforehand saying, how I have had months of therapy and that I thought he might like to know what 2 of his employees are up to when they're supposed to be working. There are also conversations on there from other employees bad-mouthing other employees, but I didn't screen grab those at the time. This woman is on a sponsored visa and should be taking her position more seriously than she is. As someone who struggled to get a job despite doing the same course as my ex, it infuriates me that someone should come to this country to then abuse the system by spending all day flirting. There have been several incidents of people being fired over the past year for allegedly stealing in your company, and this I believe is no different. Depending how you feel morally is up to you. I know that if my employees, despite being given golden opportunities in such a company, were abusing their work time in such an immoral way, I would be very upset. Whilst I was paying rent on a shared flat with my girlfriend, they were both staying there whilst I was away for work. I understand you have a work culture which incentivizes having fun, but I can't help but think that when it's at the expense of others, both at work and in the employees' personal lives, something should change. Update. I deliberated for some time. I even asked in this community whether I should do it. I couldn't sleep. Every night I didn't know whether to send it or not. I sent it exactly 3 weeks ago. Nothing happened, but at least now I can sleep. I've put it to bed. I was with my girlfriend for 2 years. I ignored the red flags, such as her infidelity on all her previous partners, and there were quite a few. Her drug abuse, her constant flirting in front of me with other men. When I was informed of her cheating, I looked on her computer and found the convo with the other man. I filmed it all, took screenshots of it, etc. She did not know I did this. She continued to act normally around me, planning our future, etc. When we split, she trashed the apartment, so I received little of my deposit back. She stole my CC details to pay for the closing bill and ignored the final closing bill that was in her name. This was in November. The conversation I recorded had references to hard drug use, with her asking him to do acid with her and MDMA, as well as spending all day talking about random crap using sexual innuendos, as well as offering him threesomes with another of his friends, a girl, and as well as sending pictures of her intoxicated on drugs. This conversation would go on throughout the entirety of the working day using the work communication software. These past few months have been busy as I've been starting a new career, but I couldn't help not sleeping, thinking whether I should send this conversation to her boss. 3 weeks ago, I uploaded the full conversation to YouTube and sent the link as well as some choice screenshots of the other guy saying how the interview questions were bullshit to her employer. I said I could remove the video from YouTube anytime the boss wanted. I heard nothing back, although the view count increased on YouTube. However, 2 days later, my ex paid that final bill on the flat. I'm sorry you had to go through all that, OP. You did what you could to ensure you were at peace with how everything went. Even if her employer did nothing, at least you somehow got your revenge. Now it's time to forget about her and move on. I hope you find someone better when you decide to go back into the dating world. Good luck, OP. Story 2. My wife, 31, and I, 32, have been together for 7 years, married for 2. Everything in our relationship is great. We rarely fight or have any arguments. This morning I checked my email, as I do every morning, and saw an email from someone I didn't know. I opened it up and the email basically stated that my wife was having an affair. The woman went into pretty good detail, showing the texts and emails between her and the other man. I didn't believe it until I logged into my Facebook and saw the message from that same woman which said, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I have some bad news for you. Please check your email." As it turns out, this woman who emailed me was the wife of the guy my wife is cheating on me with. I can't believe this. This came out of left field. Our relationship was never in a tough spot. I have no clue what led to this. I'm really not sure what to do at this moment. Update. First of all, thanks for the advice, everybody. I seriously appreciate it. Yesterday evening, my wife went over to our neighbor's apartment. While she was gone, I snooped through her texts and her email. It pretty much confirmed that she was cheating on me with the guy I was messaged about. But that wasn't it. There were 2 other guys she's cheating on me with, and one of them has a girlfriend. So that's where we are right now. My marriage is done, and I feel depressed. OP, I'm sorry you're going through this. Now that her infidelity has been confirmed, keep a clear head and go through the necessary actions. I really hope you have great family and friends to help you through this time. Take care, OP. Now for some comments. Hey man, this is super effing rough. I definitely feel for you, brother. But at least you found out now, while you're still young enough to live an extremely full life with someone who genuinely cares about you. Take some time for yourself. Go on a trip out of the country with some friends if you can. But definitely don't try and salvage this shit show of a marriage. She is not the one. Hey brother, I've been there. What you have to realize and remind yourself daily is, it isn't you. There isn't anything you could have done differently to prevent this. Someone that does this to their partner, not to mention other people, is broken inside. Don't let this cloud your vision of yourself, other women, the idea of marriage, or anything else. You just happen to be married to a broken person. Get divorced, move on. There is life after divorce, and almost without fail, a better one. Take time to grieve. Your marriage is dead. However, once you're done grieving, don't look at your marriage as a relationship anymore. It's a business deal gone bad now. Treat it as such. Story 3. Note that I haven't actually spoken to my wife yet. I just haven't figured out how to bring it up, and I found out about a majority of this stuff the day before her birthday. So originally I didn't want to bring it up and ruin her birthday. I've always tried to be the good guy and figured I could just act the part for a couple of days. But it's been 5 now, so maybe I'm just scared to bring it up because I know how terrible the conversation and subsequent argument will be. Quick background. We've been together 7 years, married 2 of those years. Recently, she went on a work trip out of state, and a childhood friend, male she knew, had moved to the city years ago. She mentioned they were going to meet up since they hadn't seen each other in years. No problems from me there. Her work on Friday and brought him to her work party meet and greet that night, which I found odd, but didn't think too much more about it. She was in training the next day and was supposed to meet up with him later that evening before heading back home Sunday morning. They met up and she ended up staying out all night with him. I found this out not from her but from one of her work friends who was freaking out that she hadn't come back to the house she was staying at. Her explanation was that they were out with his sister and they all just ended up falling asleep. We talked that out and she apologized, but it still didn't sit right with me. I didn't bring it back up because she apologized and I forgave her, so I didn't want to reopen a seemingly settled issue argument. Over the next couple of weeks, she was acting really out of character, so I eventually went snooping on her phone. I know, but I didn't trust her to give me an honest answer, and found a ton of texts between them. The number of texts weren't that concerning, she talks a lot, but the content of them was really concerning. There were "I miss you" and "I love you" texts, using pet names for each other, and, for me the most damning, texts coordinating phone calls after I went to bed. Many were similar to "he's still up" or "he just went to bed so I'll call you in 20 minutes once he's asleep." I checked our phone usage from the bill, and in 2 weeks she had talked to him over 9 hours, much of it while I was at work, running errands, or asleep. She also recently took out $17,000 from her IRA, left to her by her uncle when he passed away last year, without ever talking to me about it. We keep our finances separate because she's terrible with money, but something that large, we would talk about it. This isn't the first time something weird has gone on. Right when we started dating, she was a huge party girl and I had to go pick her up from a boat party where she was completely naked. But we moved past that and she slowed way down on her alcohol and partying. A couple of years ago, I found texts between her and some guy coordinating when I would be gone for the night, so they could grab some wine and have some fun. She claimed she never meant to follow through with it, but didn't know what to say back to the guy, so we talked and yelled and eventually got through that too. Is there an innocent explanation to any of this, or am I just wishfully thinking there could be to save my marriage? Even now, knowing he lives in a different state, when she leaves the house, I automatically assume she's meeting up with him. Not sure how I'm supposed to trust her again. Info: we do not have kids, just 2 dogs. One we each brought to the relationship, and no financial accounts together. No shared banking or credit cards. Update: so we had a talk. She swears she didn't have anything physical with him, but said she understands why I don't believe. She admitted to having some feelings for the other guy, but can't say exactly what they are. She also can't say if she's still in love with me. For the short term, she's staying with a friend, and we're going to give it a few days and figure out a path forward. Whether that's legal separation or marriage counseling or what, I can't really say. Thanks everyone for the advice and comments. They all helped push me towards confronting her about everything, which I was severely avoiding. Sorry about the whole situation, OP. I would advise you to divorce her. Apart from her cheating, the fact that she doesn't even know if she's still in love with you says a lot. She's given up on the relationship, and you should too. So take action, get divorced, and get her out of your life. I wish you good luck. Now for some comments. First of all, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I know you may not want to hear this, but the fact that she's unable to make a choice speaks volumes. By not choosing, she has already made her choice. This is called trickle truth. She banged the other guy for sure, and there's probably a few other events you're in the dark about. Cheaters always follow the same script, man. Sorry. The I love you text should be enough for you to take action. What exactly are you looking for? You also have deleted texts and unaccounted for time. You probably need to figure out where your own boundaries are because you seem to put up with a lot.